Shake someone's hand on your right and left and say, you've got something special. Let's do that right quickly, please. Shake someone's hand and say, you've got something special.
Les Brown has got something special. He's a living example of how far you can come when you soar for your dreams. As a child, he shook off the mistaken label of educably mentally retarded and went on to become a broadcaster, commentator, community activist, and three-term representative in the Ohio State Legislature. Drawing from those successes, Brown transformed his unique background to become one of the country's leading motivational speakers and trainers. For Les Brown, achievement is not a theory. It's his life.
You've got to commit yourself that you have had it in your life. You've got to get to a point in your life where I once was, where I decided at one point in my life when I looked at where I was, and I wasn't happy with me. I got tired of working on a job where they were paying me just enough to keep me from quitting, and I was working just hard enough to keep from getting fired. I got tired of that lifestyle of mediocrity. Anybody know what I'm talking about? I got tired of it. When you go into a restaurant to eat, you look on one side and see what you want to eat, and then you look on the right to see what you can afford. I got tired of it. And then I became like Fannie Lou Hamer, who said, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. You've got to get to a point like that in your life.
Brown's dynamic style has earned him a new label. His peers call him the motivator.
Once I had to make a presentation, and there I was with some 14 presenters, and these guys came in with over $30,000 worth of equipment and audio-visual equipment. And I didn't have any, and I had my cardboard visual aids. And when they came in, I was intimidated. And my mind was saying, hey, man, you can't make it. You better forget this. You don't have the contacts. You don't have the material. You can't possibly compete with these guys and their firms. I had to get up and start talking to myself. I went in the restroom. I said, Les Brown, let me tell you something. You better get yourself together. This is no time for you to panic and start putting yourself down. Man, you're all the way here from Miami. You have got to do this. You've got 6 children. You've got a mother you've got to take care of. You're like Leon Spinks. You don't have no driver's license or TFIS. You got to do this. You got to get yourself together. And I went in there and smoked them. You got to. Something out of life, you've got to be hungry. Hungry. You've got to want it to the extent that you can taste it, that you can feel it, that you can see it when nobody else can see it. And there's no reason for you to believe it. You've got to be willing to hang in there. Beginning to manifest your personal greatness. You have to make a conscious, deliberate, determined effort to go up in there and find out what you have within you. And when you're manifesting your personal greatness, you don't know where that can go. You don't know where that can lead to. And there's something that you want once you work on yourself and you set a goal for yourself. Don't worry about how it's going to happen. How it's going to happen is none of your business. Just do the best you can and leave the rest to a power greater than yourself. I heard a woman once arguing with my mother and telling her that she was such a fool to adopt my brother and sister and I when she was 38. Very beautiful, attractive woman. Never had any children herself, and she wanted us. And after that lady left, I came into the room and I said, Mama, I was 6 years old. I said, I promise you 3 things, Mama, when I become a big boy. I said, number 1, I am going to make you very proud of me. And I've done that. Number 2, I'm going to buy you a home. And I did that some 6 or 7 years ago. And 3, I'm going to become rich and famous, and I'm working on that now. The reason I talk about my mother so much in my presentations is I feel like Abraham Lincoln, who said, all that I am and all that I ever hope to be, I owe to my mother. My mother adopted my brother and sister and I when we were babies. And Mama's everything to me. But I was the problem child. My twin brother, he never got in trouble. But I was always the one getting in trouble. And my mama used to wear me out. Now, I teach people techniques and strategies on how to change themselves at the subconscious level. Mama, who only had a 3rd grade education, she believed that the subconscious mind was located about behind. So whenever I got in trouble, my mama would whoop me and say, I'll whoop your behind till the cows go home. I'll whoop it till it roke like okra. I said, oh, Mama, please no. But when I give my presentations, I think about the impact that my mother has had on my life. When I'm talking with kids, I like for parents to know, don't give up on your children. There are a lot of people told my mother that she was a fool. I caused my mother a lot of pain and a lot of disappointment. And I feel very blessed and fortunate that she lived to see the change in me, that now she can be very proud of me. And that's one of the things that gives me my life. That drives me to make my mother proud of me. And the other thing is that I remember when I was in a very challenging situation as an adult, and I had to call on Mama. Mama's 82, but Mama came through for me. Remember when I wanted to run for state representative in Columbus, Ohio, after getting off radio? They told me, you can't possibly win. You don't have any college education. The district is 65% white. You've never been involved in politics before. The incumbent has been there forever. He's endorsed by the AFL-CIO. He's endorsed by the party, both major newspapers. You can't possibly do it. And the numbers aren't there. I said, thank you. And I'm going on anyhow. And I walked every day. When I was on the air, I used to have a saying, stand up for what you believe in, because you can fall for anything. And when I went around, I would knock on folks' doors and say, tell everybody that Les Brown is still standing. And come election time, they had a lot of people in the community endorsing my opponent. When you decide to do something, not only sometimes people will not help you, sometimes they will actively work against you to try and stop you. Don't take it personal. A lady was in back of an ambulance and her son was dying, and he died, and she looked at the doctor and said, why did this have to happen to me? And he said, why not you? Who would you suggest? Your neighbors? Somebody next door? Why not you? Don't take it personal. Just work on your agenda. It's there for your growth and development as a person. And so I kept on working what I knew. And I was going to the station. I didn't know what I was going to do with the $735 that I had to buy advertising, and my opponent had over $14,000. And I remember I used to talk about my mother on the air, and I had only like 4 to 5 days left. My opponent had been on the air for about a month. And then the thought came to me, when you decide to do something, don't worry about how it's going to happen for you. When you believe in it, when you make the commitment, Disraeli said, nothing can resist the will of a people that will stake even their existence on the extent of their purpose for good. When you start thinking about something you want, when you make the commitment, all hell will break loose. But if you stand still by your convictions, all the help, all the support, all the ideas that you need to make it happen will come to you. And a thought came, said, let's call your mama. Never a commercial made like this. I went on the air with my commercial, and my mother came on the air. Said, hello, this is Mrs. Mamie Brown. When I raised my sons, I didn't let them control me. I controlled them. When they got out of hand, I beat them behind. Please vote for my son. He's a good boy. I was interested in going into broadcasting. I'm a doctor, and that was my key out. I wanted to make my mama proud of me. I was very much appreciative of what she's done for my brother and sister and I, and that was my way out. And I went over to a radio station, asked the guy and told him that I was interested in broadcasting. He looked at me in my straw hat and my overalls. He said, you have any broadcasting background? I said, no, sir, I don't. What do you do? I cut grass. Young ladies asked me what kind of work I do, and I was working on a garbage truck. I say, well, I'm a sanitary technician. He said, we don't have any job for you. I decided that was something I was going to do. I decided I'm unstoppable. I'm going to go up and hit. I'm going to do this. I started going to the radio station every day, developing a relationship with the people that were doing what I wanted to do. And that's what I encourage you to do. Whatever area you want to go in, find people that are doing it the way you want to do it and develop a relationship with them. When I decided to go in this area, I wrote letters to Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, to Zig Ziglar, to Dennis Waitley, all of the giants in this area. And I said, this is something I want to do. I've been following your career. Would you help me? Dr. Norman Vincent Peale answered my letter, did an article on me, wrote about me in the most recent book that he issued, and done many broadcasts about me. I wanted to develop a relationship and rapport with those people that were achieving those things that I wanted to achieve. By the same token, I would go to the radio station, and I developed a relationship with the guys. And they used me as an errand boy when they needed some food or someone to go pick up entertainers that came into town. Temptation singing My Girl, Jerry Butler singing For Your Precious Love, Sam Cooke singing Darling You Send Me. I would pick up the entertainers at the airport and drive them around in the disc jockeys, big Cadillacs. They didn't have any driver's license, but I was acting like I had some. Every day I used to go home and work on my communication skills, developing myself. It was Whitney Young. He said, it's better to be prepared for an opportunity and not have one than to have an opportunity and not be prepared. Start working and developing yourself now and prepare yourself for what it is that you want, because you expect to get it. And when the disc jockeys were in the control room, I would go in and watch them and develop a trust level, and they would let me stay, and I would watch and observe them working the controls. When you want something out of life, don't worry about how you're going to get it. How is none of your business. The most difficult thing it is to hold the vision. It's to hold the vision. So there I was at the radio station. A guy was on the air, and he started to drink by the name of Brock. I was outside the window looking at him and watching. Hungry and ready. Saying, drink, rock, drink. Pretty soon the phone rang. It was the general manager. I said, hello? He said, Les, this is Mr. Klein. I said, I know. He said, Rock can't finish his program. He's slurring his words. I said, I know. Can you work the controls until one of the other disc jockeys come in? Would you call them? I said, yes, sir. I hung the phone up. I said, now he must be thinking I'm crazy. I called my mom and my girlfriend Cassandra, said, y'all come out on the front porch and turn up the radio. I'm about to come on the air. Yourself. It's very important that you engage in an ongoing process to develop you. Spend more time on yourself than what you've been spending. It's very important. You owe that to yourself. I was reading a book by Og Mandino called The University of Success. Read one line, gave me a chill. I didn't have to read anything else in the book. He said, many of us never realize our greatness because we become sidetracked by secondary activity. We spread ourselves too thin, don't know how to say no. And we find ourselves doing all kinds of things and never ever have time to do those things that we need to do to work on ourselves. And then there goes a second. There goes another second. There goes another second. And we can't stop and hold time. And before you know it, you wake up one day and you're behind in your dreams and your bills. So decide that you're going to take some time to work on you, that you deserve that from yourself, that your life deserves some prime time, because you are creating your own production. As Michael Todd would say, you are the star of your show. You are the director. You're writing the script. And you will determine whether your life is a smash office hit or flop. You determine that. Working on yourself, talking to yourself. That's so very important. Overcoming the negative conversation, that inner dialogue that's going on all the time, even when you don't want it to be there. You can't stop yourself right now from thinking. You can't do it. It's going on. And so learning how to empower yourself, part of doing that is standing up to yourself. You've got to stand up inside yourself sometimes and say, shut up. You've got to do this. I was going to give a presentation, and this voice inside of me saying, you can't do this. You don't have everything it takes. I shut up. I'm behind on my bills, and you're telling me what I can't do. I have got to do it.